At 35 years old, when many people talk about stability, I had to learn how to start over again. Not starting with a new hopeful plan, but starting after I had lost almost everything. One evening, I sat alone in a quiet room. No one called. No one asked about me. My bank account was almost empty. The debts were still there. I looked at the ceiling and asked myself, where did I go wrong? At 35, people are supposed to be stable. They have families, stable finances, and strong relationships. But at 35, I had a very expensive lesson. I used to be a salaried employee. Every month I waited for payday. Life was not rich, but not too hard. I could survive. But deep inside, I did not accept a life like that forever. I did not want to exchange time for money my whole life. I started looking at investing as another path, a path that could shorten time, a path that I believed if I was smart and determined enough, I could move ahead faster. I was not wrong for wanting change. I was wrong for thinking the change would come quickly. When I first entered investing, the feeling was different. It was not like working a job. It made me feel like I was controlling my future. The first profits came quickly. Not much, but enough to make me believe I understood the game. I remember the feeling of watching my account grow little by little. It felt like recognition. I started thinking, maybe I was born for this. That was my first mistake. I read, I listened, I observed, but I did not truly understand risk management. I knew how to make money, but I did not know how to protect money. When I won, I increased my capital. When the market was good, I thought it was my ability. When profits were bigger, I believed I was good enough. I did not prepare for the worst scenario. And the market does not care how old you are, how smart you think you are, or how confident you feel. There was no big explosion, no dramatic event. The market just reversed. At first, I thought it was only a small correction. I held my position. I believed it would come back. It did not come back. My account turned red. I started to worry. I did not cut losses. I trusted my belief. I added more money. That was when one mistake led to another. When you lose a little, you think, I can recover. When you lose more, you think, just one rebound. But the market did not rebound the way I wanted. I started losing sleep. During the day, I still went to work. I talked normally, but my mind was always thinking about the numbers. At night, I checked prices on my phone. My heart beat fast. It felt like waiting for a sentence I did not dare to tell anyone. The money I lost was no longer small. I used my savings. I tried to find more money. I thought I could control it. I was wrong. When I realized I could not control it anymore, I had lost and owed a lot. The pain was not only about money, it was about losing my confidence. At 35, instead of building savings, I was thinking about how to pay debt. No one walked with me. No one stood beside me and said, it's okay. Only me and my own decisions. Sometimes I ask myself, what if I was not greedy? What if I prepared better? But what if does not pay debt? One time, my older brother said to me, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. At that moment, I felt uncomfortable. I thought he did not understand how hard I had tried. Later, I sat alone and thought, did I have a long-term plan? Did I manage my capital clearly? Did I prepare for the worst case? Did I prepare my mindset for big changes? The answer was no. I entered investing with more belief than knowledge. I acted more with emotion than discipline. I did not lose because the market was cruel. I lost because I was not prepared enough. And for the first time, I accepted that truth. At 35, you are not young enough to make unlimited mistakes, but you're not too old to continue. I decided not to quit, not because I was strong, but because I had no other choice. I went back to working seriously. I started paying debt little by little. I studied again from the beginning, not to get rich fast, but to avoid repeating mistakes. I learned about risk management. I learned to cut losses. I learned not to all in. I learned to stay out when I did not understand. Most importantly, I learned to control my emotions. No one knew I was changing. No one clapped for me. Only I knew I was no longer the same person. After my brother's sentence, I did not change immediately. There was no dramatic awakening, just quieter days. I started reviewing my whole journey, not to punish myself, but to understand my mistakes. I thought I lacked luck. I thought the market turned against me. I thought I just needed one more chance. But the truth was, I entered a big game with small preparation. I lacked foundation knowledge. I lacked a system. I lacked discipline. I let emotions guide me. The hardest thing was not paying debt. The hardest thing was admitting my illusion. When I accepted that, I stopped blaming. That was the first step to stand up again. No one saw my rebuilding process. I still went to work, still a normal person in others' eyes. But inside, I was rebuilding everything. I made a personal financial plan again. I listed all debts. I calculated monthly cash flow. I cut unnecessary spending. I learned to live more simply. Some things I thought I deserved before, I now understood I could not afford. Each month, when I paid a small part of debt, I did not celebrate, but I felt lighter. I stopped dreaming about big wins. I focused on small steps. Before, I studied to make money. Now, I studied not to lose money. I read more carefully. I analyzed more carefully. I understood investing is not excitement, but probability and risk management. I made rules. Do not invest when I do not fully understand. Do not use borrowed money. Do not increase capital just because I am winning. Always have a stop-loss plan. Do not decide when emotions are strong. I wrote these rules and put them on my desk. Once, I stayed out of a very good opportunity. The price went up strongly later. Before, I would regret. This time, I did not. Because discipline is more important than one opportunity. Starting again at 35 is lonely. Friends are stable. They talk about vacations, houses, long-term plans. I was paying debt and rebuilding foundation. Not everyone understands, and I did not want to explain much. Some nights, I still felt heavy, but I learned to stop negative thoughts sooner. Maturity is taking responsibility without destroying yourself. I started investing again, but very small. No more all in, no more extreme excitement, no more watching the screen all day. I accepted moderate profit. I accepted slow growth. My account increased slowly. Not numbers that impress others, but numbers that gave me peace. The biggest change was not in the account. It was in my mindset. I could sleep. I was not afraid to open my phone. Risk did not control me anymore. Before, success was big money. Now, success is not repeating old mistakes, not letting emotions control decisions, not breaking rules because of greed, not quitting because of fear. I no longer want to prove anything to anyone. I just want to be stronger every day. Failure did not make me permanently poor. It made me awake. At 35, I thought I had lost. But actually, that was when I truly began to grow.